I feel like my husband puts things off until I end up handling things myself. Alt account because my husband is on Reddit. My husband 26M and I 26F have had a rocky relationship. It's been 3 years since we've been married, and I always hoped it would get a bit easier. I feel like we've tried a lot of different things to improve our relationship, but I often find myself feeling defeated and sad because it seems like nothing will ever change. Right now we're in the process of moving. I stayed behind to finish things up at our house and he's gone ahead to start working. We're literally starting from scratch. I sold everything, including our cars. We have to have a car, so I asked him to buy a car and have it ready for us once I'm ready to move. He's met me with so many excuses and I'm just tired. I'm finally flying to meet him next week, and there's still no car. It's been a month. He mentioned to me offhand the other day that he was planning on buying a car once I fly in, but doesn't that defeat the purpose? All I asked was that he had one ready for when I arrived. I really don't want to go car shopping the second I get off the plane. I was excited and hopeful about the move. We talked about how things were going to change and he seemed so motivated, but now I feel defeated again. I don't even feel angry anymore. What was I expecting? I'm not sure what advice I'm looking for. We get along pretty well when there aren't any big life decisions involved. He's a nice guy, I just don't trust him to take any responsibility in the relationship. I guess, has anyone been in a similar relationship? How did it go? When was it finally enough for you? Is there anything that can change? I'm really interested in starting couples therapy, but I'm afraid of putting effort into something that might not even work. Update. Hi Reddit. I made a post 3 years ago about my husband not taking the initiative when it came to purchasing a new car after a big move. My post didn't get too big, but I've always liked seeing updates and a lot has changed in 3 years. So, I decided to log back in and make my own. I don't know how to link the original, but please take a look at the post history if you want to see my first post. After making the post, my husband had made an appointment to go look at cars. I remember feeling really good about everything in that moment. I felt a huge relief knowing that this big thing was finally getting taken care of. When his appointment came, my husband called to tell me some good news. He had seen one car, decided it was good, and told me that this is the one we would be buying. While he was still in the dealership, I asked him to tell me the details like how much the interest was and how much the car cost. I asked him if he had compared it to Kelley Blue Book to see if it was a fair deal. My husband was kind enough to ask the salesman everything, but after each question he would add, "I'm sorry my wife is making this so difficult." I was pretty hurt and embarrassed by this, and told him so, but he said all my questions were frustrating and were slowing down the process of the one thing I had asked him to do. In the end, he decided to wait for me to arrive so that we could sign for the car together. I ended up getting picked up from the airport and taken straight to the car dealership. We got a good interest rate on the car, but we ended up overpaying by about $7,000. I should have said no to the car and just looked myself, but I was young and embarrassed and I felt like I wasn't being supportive. Thankfully, that car ended up being our only shared piece of property in our divorce. I didn't trust him to refinance the car, so I ended up taking it. We owed so much more money on the car than what it was worth that I couldn't get it refinanced for several months. I ended up trading it in, and even though I'm still in the hole financially because of it, I am so much happier now. We did try therapy before ultimately divorcing. My ex-husband was quite the prodigy. He was cured, his words, not mine, after a week. He said that he had it all figured out and didn't see the point in continuing. He also told me that he was the only one who had ever put any effort into the relationship, and that it was 100% my fault that we were divorcing. He told me that no one would ever love him again if I left and that he might as well off himself because there's no point in going on. When that didn't work, he said that no one would ever love me again and that I was lucky that he has stayed around as long as he did. He then asked me if I would forge his signature on the divorce documents because I was basically forcing him to do it anyways. I did not. Anyway, I'm happy to report that he was successfully able to move on from the trauma I put him through. He's still around, but I've kept my distance because I can't be bothered, so I'm unsure of what he's up to. I was able to find someone after some time. My boyfriend is so kind. Sometimes I feel like it's too good to be true. Then again, I get Twitter-pated when he does simple things like taking out the trash, cooking, or maintaining a full-time job, so the bar is in hell. He's a great guy, and he does more than the bare minimum I promise. Looking back, I knew that I wanted a divorce, I just wasn't ready to admit it. My ex-husband didn't love or respect me. I didn't put many details of the relationship in my first post, and I don't really feel the need to put it all out there now, but I know now that if someone truly loves you, they make sure you know. Thanks Reddit. You were right.